see, I tried to print something. Can you see there's a pile of paper? I may need it, I may not. I don't know how far we'll get. Is it working? Yeah. Can we see if I'm right side up? I think I'm right side up. Okay, I'm right side up. How do you... Get them together. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Devya Matriksha Mangalam Mangalam Bhakta Brindebhyo Sarva Lokaya Mangalam Om Stapakaya Chadharmasya Sarva Dharma Sarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Mangalam Om Sarashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ashmarachara Prayantam Vande Gurum Paramparam Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwaraha Guru Reva Param Brahman Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So we moved inside because it's a beautiful day, but it's cold wind. So thought it'd be a little easier inside. So continuing from last week, we met last week, I think. Last week from going through the Kali Puja. Oh, I need a small Kali Puja book. I think there's one on the desk or in the book. These are the main points that are in our small, simple Kali Puja, but we're going a little more elaborate. We're using the large, kind of the daily puja here, like we do. And it's not really, like we mentioned before, not lessons in puja, but on how to, but more like the philosophy and reason background. What did we finish last week? We did. Yes, we did we got rid of ghosts. We established the water, got rid of ghosts and spirits, and worshipped the deities of the doorway. I think it's where we... Yes. Okay, Dwara Devata Puja. In a small book, where would it be? So we did, in a small book, it's, there's on page 10, it's Samargya Arghya-sthāpana, establishing the holy waters, and Bhuta Apasarana, the removal of negative spirits. So then it's next is establishing the seat. Yes. So actually, part of establish called Āsana-sthāpana. In the little book, it's Āsana-sthāpana, but this can be expanded into a couple different practices. One is Bhūmi-śuddhi, and all these things so far. The beginning part of the puja primarily is purification. And some of these things seem like protection, but protection is also purification, creating a safe, clean environment. And part of it, we have to be clean. Our clothes have to be clean. The items, ritual should be clean and polished, and everything washed. All the flowers washed, all that type of thing. We should also just having bathed, wearing fresh, ritually pure cloth with appropriate holy beads. Holy markings on the different. We can one day talk about like the tilak and things like that. That's a very interesting thing. We can prepare for that. Actually, part of maybe even next week we can fold that into the Bhūmi-śuddhi section, perhaps. But so we have to be like physically pure or clean. There's also a difference between cleanliness and purity. And different types of purity, because cleanliness, of course, and within cleanliness, there's cleanliness and there's hygiene. Those are two different things. You can have clean people that aren't hygienic, and there's difference between. And so usually we think of purity to be more of a spiritual quality, not just cleanliness, right? And so purity, it also, what's purity? Purity could be like, oh, he's like having a clean heart and pure sentiments, pure devotion, right? But purity in ritual, it means that, but purity in ritual is a different standard of, it's, I think we one time described it as like astral hygiene or something. It's a different type of hygiene, right? Like we wash our hands, so we're clean. That's, I mean, there's nothing more you can do. You can use some antibacterial soap, which is probably not that great for you, but kills everything, and so you're like clean, right? But it's like, oh, don't touch that. That's for puja. It's like, but I'm clean. No, you're clean, but you're not. And what I'm pure. I'm pure. No, you're clean and pure, but you're not ritually pure. There's another standard altogether, right? And that's a little hard to understand. It doesn't always make sense. In that Death Must Die book by Atmananda, you've seen that book? You read the book yet? No, not yet. It's spectacular. It's the diary of Atmanand, who was a Austrian disciple of Anandamayi Ma. Right? It's very interesting, and she lived with Anandamayi Ma. I was at an intimate diary, and as a Westerner, right, an educated Westerner, a sophisticated person living with Anandamayi Ma. Anandamayi Ma, of course, the highest type of saint possible, right? Was the highest type of vision possible. Yet around her was extremely orthodox Bengali Brahmins. And at that time, Orthodox Bengali Brahmins were Orthodox Bengali Brahmins. They had a lot of, it was a last hold. And around her, so there was a lot of restrictions. You couldn't touch anything. Only certain people can do this. And in one sense, she allowed it. And so did she allow it because, not wanting to change the culture, or did it have a purpose? Personally, she never told people to do like that. Anybody come to her, she'd initiate, or she wouldn't initiate, but she'd give them full authority for spiritual practices like that. But in a ritual setting, there's a different set of rules. And the thing that the around her, there'd be these huge yagyas, these Gayatri havans, and very elaborate, complicated 7-day yagyas and practices. And because that, in order for what they're trying to do is not easy, right? And it has to be done. They're dealing with with deities, right, and cosmic forces, and that whole science has come down in a certain way, right? And to make it work, it has to be done properly. Right? We think, oh no, but we're all equal, so everybody should be able to do it. We're all equal under the law. We're all equal as our spiritual potential, right? But in a ritual setting, maybe we're not. Maybe something's not done properly. Maybe it doesn't work, right? But the thing is, we don't believe anything works. It's all symbolic, right? We're worshiping, and we go, wow, what a powerful heaven. I really felt something. It's not meant for your feelings. It's meant to please devatas, to bring rain and prosperity. It's like it's a different. It's not a matter of like, oh, I'll set when I send money, when I pay my, it's not a good example, you pay your taxes, right? It's not like symbolic. You actually have to pay, and it actually you have to fill out the form, the right forms have to be done, everything has to be, otherwise it doesn't count, you can be held liable, right? It's a very complicated thing. We take it in a certain way. That's not the way it's always been taken. Actually, it's never been taken that way until very recently, until people who, we think we know better than ancient rishis and sages, and maybe we do. Maybe the new age, the new period of time, the modern or the contemporary world, a lot of the old principles of how we organize culture and religion and power structures and ritual, maybe they're obsolete. Maybe, right? But people like Anandamayi Ma, who obviously were above it, right, still gave it full credit, right? When we would do the pujas for Swami Lakshmanju's havan, his Mahasamadhi havan, right? I remember George, they would do weeks before, they're cleaning for weeks, right? He says that he got permission from George would get permission from the next door neighbor to clean out their rain gutters. For the next door neighbors, right? And then they start at the end of the lawn, they crawl along the grass looking for every piece of paper, every piece of plastic, removing it from the area. Right, then we also actually partially inspired by him and them. During Navaratri, we do so much extra cleaning. We wash the roof. We do like that. We don't go so far as to wash the neighbor's roof, right? And also, what they do, the wood they use for the havan, they wash it and put it away, right? And when they do the havans in Swami Lakshmanju's ashram in Kashmir, they wouldn't do it at the ashram. For his guru, for his master's Mahasamadhi, they'd rent a famous place nearby where people do these type of things, right?
And they'd go a week beforehand and from one corner to the other and clean everything. And then they have this huge like barn where they have the wood for hundreds of fire ceremonies where people are using fire. And they'd take all that wood out, wash it, and put it back, even though they only could use a handful, a little bit of it, right? To be so, and so it seems this is maybe it's excessive, right? But the idea is that like, who's coming, right? It's like if your mom comes, you clean your apartment. I mean that's just regular mom, or friends from high school that are going to judge you, judgy friends. You clean your apartment. You're like, what does it become? Like gods and goddesses, rishis, devatas, right? And so we can't imagine what's actually happening. When we're chanting, when we're invoking mantras for Brahma and Indra and Shiva, what if they're coming? Right? Not just our idea of Brahma, Indra, and Shiva. That's our modern way. Oh, they represent this and they are that. They do, on a symbolic level, they represent that. But maybe they're actually coming. And maybe they only actually come if things are set up properly. Right? Maybe they're the ones who said a long time ago what's required for them to actually come. Maybe. Right? These are the things. So, and there's one, George told a beautiful story of one of these occasions doing these big pujas for the Swami Lakshmanji's good. He was his birthday a few days ago, so we're remembering him and we were there. So we were thinking he's in my mind right now. But George said that one day beforehand, like the puja was supposed to start in such a time, starts at noon or something. And then I may be getting the story a little bit wrong, but more or less the point could be made. That Swami Lakshman said, told the driver, we need to go early, like 2 hours early. He says, why? No, just go quickly. So he went, and Swami Lakshman just sat there in the yagya stall, where the puja is going to be done. Okay, let's go back. And they went back, and then they had breakfast, and eventually they came back into the pujas, right? But he says, why is it? He says, no, I knew that they were coming. Who was coming? Thousands of siddhas, like the 64 siddhas, and these different lines of rishis came to attend, to bless the ceremony before we start. And I figured I should be here when they come, right? So he had full faith. Maybe he felt them coming. He knew they were coming. Maybe he saw them coming. But they came because all that preparation was done. So all this preparation. So we may not be that. We've been cleaning. Usha's been cleaning for more than a week. We've all been cleaning to get this place ready for puja tomorrow, right? Cleanliness, everything is shined, everything's polished like that. But because who's coming, right? What if it's true? And what if these cosmic powers come, and if there's a mistake, it doesn't work, or they don't come, or they leave, or if a mantra has a particular effect, what if it doesn't have that effect? It would have the opposite effect. We either don't think this way because we take it lightly, or we take it deeply. Both are maybe the same thing, right? But if we take it literally and seriously, maybe it does these things. We have to be really careful. So ritual purity is maybe a different thing. And so I was like, they were brought me back to Atmanan, Brahmacharini Atmanan. She was, it's like, she's educated, right? She's more hygienic than these people that she sees in the dirty country, and they're telling her, like, she steps into the kitchen, all the food has to be thrown away. It's like, what type of thing? She gets all pissed off. And, you can imagine she writes, we have her diary notes of those. So it's very interesting to see in real time, living with a saint that's like Goddess herself and struggling with this type of stuff, right? It's very interesting to see her struggle, right? And the struggle between the Western perspective on these things and ancient tradition, right? And then Ram Alexander, who's the editor of the book, wrote some very nice, 2 important footnotes in her anti-purity caste rules ranting, right? He wrote some very interesting footnotes about some of these type of things, about how these rituals work and the science of it. It's interesting, very challenging and fascinating. I would suggest that book to everybody. It's a beautiful book, very deep. But so in the daily puja, we're also doing these things. Like, we've washed the floor. So now now we have to do more purification, right? Now we're sprinkling water. We wash the flowers. We sprinkle water, right? So there's another set. So these are all types. There's the different level of purity. And Holy Mother made a comment that purity and impurity is in the mind. Thakur also said that, right? So that's also, so maybe what we're doing is only changing the mind. We see it purely by these ritual actions. We see something properly, and we think it's pure, therefore it's pure. That could be, I think, at the highest spiritual level. But it could also, maybe there's a subtle problem. Maybe your clean flowers, maybe they're not clean. Maybe somebody's looked at them with a critical mind, drishti. Like, oh, goodness, so-called devotee. I remember one time I bought something at Mother's for puja, and I brought it to the counter, and the person kind of looked at it, and it was not what the person's personal diet was. He goes, "Oh," and he made some comment, and so I took it back, got another thing, and went to another counter because like they've already spoiled it. It's bad enough. Maybe it's bad that I bought that thing. It's necessary for puja, right? But now whatever it is, now they've icked it with their. I'm going, why are you working here? They sell this here. What are you gonna? Like if you're that. But anyways, and also it's not a proper way to treat customers. But anyways, that was meant for puja, and you just gave drishti, some negative idea towards it. So maybe flowers seen this way. Maybe there's some subtle impurity to be purified. We think, oh, they're beautiful and they smell nice, right? Do they? Are they? What we see, they're beautiful. And what we smell, they smell nice. Maybe to a deva, they don't smell good, right? Maybe they need to be purified more, right? And the reason George was cleaning the gutters, he says that the sense of smell, the deva, it's mentioned in the Shastras, is 10,000 times greater than our sense of smell. Even a dog's sense of smell is like 100 times more, right? They live in a world of smell. We barely smell anything, right? But you think, right? So why will they come if it smells bad? One little bit of, he says there's raccoons and possums. Maybe there's possum droppings in the rain gutters. We see them running around, so there must be we have rat droppings. You've got to clean. Trying to clean these things like that. So those should be removed. We're inviting everything has to be so pure that these things. Why would they come? We think it's fine, right? One of the classic great moments of a great Swami Bhajanananda moment. Right on the bridge, we were on the bridge at crossing the Ganga in Rishikesh, Ramjula, and it was nasty. Some animal went to the bathroom. Something on the it was, but I mean, this was bad. It was very, very bad, and we drop. You kind of have to walk around. It's obvious everybody's walking around. There's some mess in the middle of the road, and it's covered in flies. It's even better. All right, sorry, please forgive me. I'm talking about purity, and look what I'm doing. For a point, Your Honor, I'll make my point in a second. Give me a little leeway. But then Swami Bhajanananda looks at it, and he kind of looks at it in his very unique style. But he says, "They think that's nice." Seeing these flies around that thing, right? That's stuck in my mind because to a fly, that's very nice. But we're not that much better. I mean, our habits aren't that much better than flies. The stuff we eat and touch and like that. But we're walking around and we're being so careful, right? So things that we think are gross, maybe they're not gross. That we think are nice, other people might think are gross, right? You see, it's like, I remember one time I had a little bit of a problem. I was in a bus. I needed to get something. I needed to use a restroom. And I'm like, the only public restroom is like at a Jack in the Box near my aunt's house. And I'm like going. It's like, even to go to the bathroom, it's like. But other people, they're there to eat, right? And I'm worried about going to the bathroom there, right? You see that I think they think, oh, this is great. There's a place to enjoy with your family. It's inexpensive food and things that it's like, but. Your tendencies are different. Not everything is for everybody. So things that we think are clean and nice, it's fine. Don't be so fanatical, right? It's not fanatical. Maybe it's not. Sometimes it's fanatical. Maybe it could be. We have to be consider these things, but maybe it's real. Maybe maybe the devas don't agree with our standards of purity and impurity, right? Yes, we have to think, and maybe like these things. This is the way it works. This is the law, right? So you can think, oh, I'm driving down the street, and you see a red light. Like, oh, why all these restrictions? This is fanatical. I'm just going to drive through, right? You can get. There's the problem is that yes, maybe it's restriction. Maybe that light shouldn't be there. Maybe we should vote to remove the light or whatever, But it's the law, right? That's the thing. It's not a. It's like you may think the law is wrong, but it's the law. Right, so so some of these things, these are the principles of how puja works, right? At one level, this is a particular level in your own daily devotion, praying to Ma. That's also puja, but we're trying to give descriptions of the ritual actions and standards. So it's this is the way it works. So the first is we did the removal of ghosts, right, or spirits. Now it's Bhūmi-śuddhi, means purification of the earth. Now Mother Earth. Mother Earth is always pure. That's one thing we have to understand, right? Bhudevi, we soiled her, but she's herself pure, right? If she's dirty, it's because something we did, right? Right. So and therefore the dirt we put on her, the dirt is mother. Anyway, you know what I mean. The dirt is not dirty. Dirt is the earth, but you know what I mean. The earth is ever pure. But if you see what's something impure, impure means pure. Yeah, water is always pure. Then you put something in it and mix it, and that means something that's not water is in water. That shouldn't be there. It makes it impure, right? So Bhudevi, Mother Earth, is pure, but we put stuff that's not her, or not everything. So you know my point I'm trying to make, and then make it impure. But so okay, we say that but our attitude towards earth may be impure. And what is earth? Actually, earth is not just Bhudevi. Earth is also an element, right? Of the five elements: earth, fire, water, air, ether, and the classical five elements in Sankhya. 5 of the 24. So it's a tattva, right? That also has a correspondence. That tattva has a correspondence in the chakra, in our astral subtle internal map that we use. We have the chakra that as a Muladhara Chakra, right? It's also the tattva of earth as one of the five elements, and the chakra, of course. It's actually another way of saying earth is material, right? So it's material. The material world itself is consciousness at its most consciousness descends and through from infinite to all the way down to finite. Finite we call the earth element, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to think of. What we mean by purifying the earth is not just like, of course we should pure. I mean, we could sit there, we sprinkle water and do these mantras, and yet we pollute, and we throw our garbage outside. Right, so you could say, well, that's not purifying the earth, like it is, that it is pure. That's wrong at a different category. This is we're talking subtle things. So in this practice, a very simple thing is that we take a little water, take a little of that holy water that we establish, right? And there's a mudra called Go Yoni Mudra. Go Yoni means it's the urine of a cow, right? So there's a muscle. I mean, we all have this, but when a cow goes to the bathroom, it opens up a seal, and allows the urine just to pour down, right? So this is very deep because actually the cow is itself a symbol of the earth, as Mother Earth. She takes this form, right? And we know all the products of a cow are considered pure and purifying. Even cow urine. This is maybe a little factoid. I know exactly scientifically, chemically exactly, but it's antiseptic. It's like Mr. Clean. It's cleaner. It's more antiseptic than Mr. Clean. So actually, people wash their floors with cow urine and cow stool, right? You wipe the kitchen. This is a common thing in ancient times, even villages now. People they take cow dung and wet it. And then and spread a layer of cow, cleaning your kitchen and spreading cow dung everywhere. So that's an interesting thing to think about it. That even like a rishi, right? A rishi's urine or I seem to be obsessed with this topic right now, but we'll get over it. Sorry, Your Honor. Even a rishi's urine or excrement is impure. Right, even a holy person, it will still breed disease. You have to flush it away and clean it like that. But a cow, right? Think about the purity of this animal. That even its urine is purifying even to humans, right? Or purifying to rishis, purifying to the gods. Without the five products of a cow, the gods cannot be worshipped. So the scripture says, right? So this is very interesting. So it's like This why just like when we say the water going Namo Vishnu, Om Vishnu, we think it's a Ganga coming from Vishnu's feet. So therefore, by this mudra, we think it's a cow, because actually where a cow urines, it kills disease. So it's actually literally where cows are, disease doesn't grow in the same way. I mean, I'm not going to make an argument against the way bacteria and things like that. In general, we think this is the case. So just like that, just like literally where a cow is and where a cow urinates, that the land becomes pure and holy. It's also considered holy because that's where cows are. But also see how badly we treat cows. Like when we keep cows, everything dies, We don't do it properly, right? But actually, where cows and bulls are, everything nourishes, everything's pure. Pujas can be done, and everything's fertile. This is actually such a pure thing. But we do it in a way where we do something holy that should be holy, we make it poisonous, right? That's a mistake. But actually, where a cow is, everything becomes pure, right? And its urine purifies, its cow dung gives nutrients, it's fertilizer and the like, right? Its milk and ghee is used for yagyas to feed the gods that bring rain. This is the ancient way of thinking, right? So this in Go Yoni Mudra, you take a little water, and then just like a cow urinated, you pour it on the ground in front of you, on the earth in front of you, right? With the mantra Om Raksha Raksha Hum Pat Swaha, right? So Raksha Raksha means protect, Raksha Raksha. So this actually, where idea is we're purifying the earth, right? We're purifying the earth element with this water, which is cow urine, right? But we're saying protect, oh Mother Earth, protect, or protect Mother Earth. Both meanings can be there and can be interpreted in both ways, right? Mother Earth is our protection, but we want what it means. We want no negative, like we've chased away ghosts. There's also energies that come from the underworld, from our lower consciousness below the Muladhara Chakra, even subtle elemental spirits that are at a dense level and therefore below the earth element. So it's a way. It's also. It's like we haven't done this yet. Where you lock the corridors, you're also locking the floor, right? You're locking the base. Like first thing we do is like lock the basement, right? So nothing comes from underneath. That's another thing. We're purifying the earth. We're asking for protection, but we're also protecting. We're sealing also along with that, right? We're actually sealing the because one thing we have to think that in the chakra system we usually think of the 6 chakras or 7 chakras, but there's hundreds of chakras. Many go higher above. There's many in between the chakras we usually think about, right? But many go above into the heavenly realms and the higher states of awareness. We can't even imagine. We can't think of above the absolute. Our conception of the absolute, but I guarantee our conception of the absolute is not the absolute. There's many things higher than our conception, right? So who knows what it means? And there's things lower, right? So there's lower chakra. It says that for us, a human being, our low chakra is Muladhara Chakra. Right. Theoretically, we started at the earthly level as animals, and then ideally, we should be moving to the higher chakras, right? As human behavior and maybe even godly behavior, godly realization. But there may be a type of being, right, that in the old world would be in other realms, in underworld realms. We think, hell's in the underworld, right? Hell's probably not under the earth, but in denser regions. With how you thought about. That their higher chakras are our lowest chakras, right? And whether they exist separately, that's just a belief, right? Maybe internally, psychologically, maybe there's things inside of us that look up we look down at the earth, at our base, and they look up, right? That's their nature, right? And one of the qualities of the demonic consciousness that's in the scriptures and symbolically or actual is they reach up and steal. Their nature is to steal, right? And pull back down, right? And whether there's demons in the underworld who are reaching up, grabbing our good qualities and stealing our spiritual wealth and pulling it back down, maybe, right? Could be, right? But if it's taken even psychologically, it's significant. We have parts of us that we awake. We have a certain divine energy, and that divine energy is being worshipped in this puja and being used in this purification. It's all about. We talked about Kundalini and the like. It's all about Kundalini ultimately. So this divine spark, this divine consciousness, divine energy, this Shakti, this awareness. So we're trying to wake it up, right? As we wake it up, there may be parts of us that we can use that same fuel. We want it to lighten up the higher regions, the higher parts of the mind. This is perfect. Look, awesome. Grab it and run. So we can do that. We sabotage. We can see even psychologically, we can sabotage our spiritual realization. We get a little spark of something, and some lower energy, lust, anger, greed, jealousy, avarice, confusion, all these type of things. Come and grab it and now and it puffs it and it uses that energy rather than to illuminate the Sushumna up to the Sahasrara. It uses it to illuminate the ego or illuminate our delusion or self-delusion. And pretty soon, like, I am the Lord of everything. I am God. A new revelation for the world, right? The end of the world in 2 weeks. You should sell your property. It's like you can start with these type of things. Maybe that same divine energy, some internal spark, some internal thing, but now it's fueling some lower thing. So raksha, but we seal it, protect from that, from those lower things within us, maybe even lower things astrally, or energies and the subterranean astral realms could be. We don't think this way usually, but so raksha pat swaha. This mantra, I don't think we've used Hum Tat Swaha yet. The famous mantra. It's used a lot in purification. And Hum, these mantras, they don't have they have meaning, but they're not a translatable term. It's not like that. They're not the way a normal word is. They're powerful sounds that do something. And so we mentioned last week, I think, about that, like when we go pat, and that too, it's like a protective, it's a sharp, it's a masculine mantra, pat, right? It's like the way, hey, get rid of, chasing away an animal or something like that, right? Aggressive, sharp type of thing. Hum is called the Kurcha Bijam. Actually, generally, we're speaking these a little bit because we're just saying the mantra. But generally, Bij mantras, they're not spoken unless they're used in puja, right? They're not, we don't like, so in the scriptures, they're given in code, right? It says Kurcha Bij, like there's a mantra for Kali, there's like this long mantra from power. It says the Kurcha Bija should be chanted twice. Then the Kama Bija should be chanted 3 times. Then the Hrileka Bija should be heard 2 times. Then the Dakshina Kali in the vocative form, followed by, it gives you enough, like, why don't they just give the mantra? Because you don't give, people are initiated into the mantra. And then the mantra is not used in conversation, it's used in ritual speech acts, right? Because they do something, right? Like if, but I'm with Ma's forgiveness, I'm speaking these mantras a little, some of them, not all of them, but some of the mantras for the sake of clarification. So this Humkara, the Hum mantra, is called the Kurcha Bij mantra. That's its code in the scriptures. The tantras, you say Kurcha Bija is this mantra. And there's in the 100 names of Kali, many names are describing that she is known by this Kurcha Bija. It's one of Kali's mantras. But it's specifically, it's for Mahakala Bhairava. Bhairava is his mantra. It's a fiery mantra. When Shiva was meditating and the gods needed to awaken him from his ascetic meditation and wanted to tempt him. And so we know that, what is it, Kamadev, right? Cupid, not our little glittery Cupid, the Hindu Cupid something. But anyways, he shoots his arrow and deep within his conscious, a little vritti of desire and lust awakens. And Shiva opens his eyes. Where's that coming from, right? And he sees in front of him, hiding still the arrow, the smoke with the smoking bow, like still buzzing bow, I guess the way you do it now, right? And he goes, what is it? And he goes, Hum, right? And a flash of light comes from the third eye and burns Kamadev to ashes. And he goes, okay, that's the power of this mantra. It's a very fierce mantra. In the Chandi, when the forces of Shumba and Nishum, I believe Shumba, or the beginning story, I think it's with Mahishasura, I think. When Mahishasura's army first attacks, right, and Kali comes, and what does she go? She goes, Hum, and hundreds of thousands of demons are destroyed. Like, now you could visualize it in modern movies, the Avenger type movie, everybody goes flying, and skyscrapers collapse and all that, one of those type of, I visualize it now. Very nice, right? So Ma, it's also her mantra. It's a Shakti mantra, but it's considered a very aggressive, fiery mantra. It's a mantra of fire, right? And so in that story where Kamadev himself is destroyed, and Kamadev ultimately is an internal quality of lust and desire and like this, or a whole army is destroyed, right, of demons, which may also be, we interpret in the Chandi, we interpret these stories internally. Each demon represents something, or externally. But I just said it 4 or 5 times, right? Did anything happen? I don't know. Maybe tens of thousands of demons were just destroyed, right? I'm doing it for education. Maybe demons of not knowing what the mantra means are being destroyed, right? But in puja, maybe it does something. right? And so, and we may not know what it does, but it's doing something, right? One time, Holy Mother, somebody complained to Holy Mother, who was a disciple of Holy Mother. He says, I'm chanting japa, I get no concentration, I get no feeling. And because his idea is, after so many years of doing japa, you think as you do japa, you get more concentration and more internal feeling, right? As if the purpose of the mantra is to increase your concentration. No, we benefit by concentrating on the mantra. The mantra's job is to give us concentration. You can do that by doing almost anything, right? And she says, chant the mantra anyways. It's doing, you don't know what it's doing, right? I didn't give it to you so you learn how to concentrate. I gave it to you, who knows? I mean, I know, she knows what it was doing, right? So these mantras are doing things even if we don't know what they're doing, right? And sometimes we don't have much concentration, right? But we have mantras, right? And so sometimes the pujas go great, and you're really in the mood, and the bhava was really, and you're feeling everything, and you have, and sometimes maybe your mind's totally distracted, right? And maybe, or you're not feeling anything, whatever, or you're pissed off about something, who knows? We never like that. But still, next page, Om Raksha Raksha Hum Pat Swaha, because whatever my internal state, these mantras, whether, if I shoot you, sorry to use it, if I shoot you, whether I shoot you with concentration or not, the shooting does something. The mantras do something, right? Better if I do it with great concentration. Sorry, not you personally. Right, but this is the idea. These things, and therefore that's why we don't say these mantras cheaply, right? Because they do something, and sometimes we don't know what they do. And therefore, if you don't know what something does, you shouldn't. If you're going to shoot anything, you better know what you're doing. You should even get to a gun before you know what you're doing. Be properly trained, like this, and have a good reason for it. So a lot of people have these mantras. They don't know what they're doing. They're not trained in doing it. Nobody told them to do it, and they shouldn't do it. They're literally playing with fire, right? Kurcha mantra is a mantra of fire. It burns, right? And then so hum, pat protects. It's a sharp thing, right? And swaha, we mentioned last week, swaha nourishes. It's the Devi mantra. With the mantra of swaha, all the gods are satisfied. Just think about it. All the gods, I mean, if that's true, Sarvadeva, all the gods, 33 million gods in the upper world, all the angels, archangels, the apsaras and dakinis and yoginis, and you just keep going into all this world, they're all fed and nourished and satisfied with this mantra of swaha, right? So this is the big thing. So if you were to give a translation, there's no translation, intentional translation, like meaning a translation of what it does. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know what the word for that is, but which is what I've tried to do. I've used hum pat swaha as purify, which is that burn, right? To purify by fire. Purify, protect, pat, and swaha, spiritualize. Right, to bring everything to its most pure state. So that's kind of the intention behind it, how it's used. Om Raksha, you take that water, Om Raksha Raksha Hum Pat Swaha, and then the earth element, the earth is purified. So as part of that, or as a separate part, is the Āsana-sthāpana. That's also in the small book. Āsana-sthāpana, it means the establishment of, sthāpana means it means to establish the seat. And this term, whenever in Sanskrit, this is one of the ways you can really hear how Sanskrit sounds are how Sanskrit's put together by root sounds, right? And how even our language, which is loosely, I mean, it's based upon Sanskrit. It's been a long time since between Sanskrit and English. It's been a lot of time and a lot of transformation, right? And a lot of other influence, but it is a direct line, right? And so we have that sta sound that's all through English. That same sound: stop, still, establish. Stand, right? Stand, understand. It is that sta is to. I keep saying to establish something. That sta sound will be in everywhere. Almost every. I haven't tried everything, but every time you hear the word Stephen means to establish. That's where the word comes from, right? Even the English name, right? To hold, So to put something is to establish it, or to still something, right? Is it's called sthāpana. We do prana pratisthana, right? When the deities awaken, it's the life establishing, right? Pratisthana is the divine spark. It's called kalasthāpana, the water pot in front of Mount. You establish the water pot. So this sta is going to come, sthapana is going to be repeated. So here's Āsana-sthāpana. Asana means, it's the same thing. The word asana, the word as is there. You can guess what that might mean. It means to sit, right? So many of the things have come, right? Maybe loosely. It means, so asana means, you tell somebody to take your seat, right? It means to sit down. I mean, you use asana. So asana has many things. Asana means sitting, right? And it means where you sit, right? It also means your seat. If you see the three differences, where you sit, we're sitting. Where's your asana? We're sitting in Kali Mandir, right? And I have a particular seat here, and you have a seat, just a little thing, we like. And you're sitting there. You've taken an asana. You've taken a posture. We usually use asana as posture. It doesn't mean posture. It means seat, right? You're sitting. Asana means to sit, right? Right. Then from that one posture, many postures can come. We can sit or stand. Same stuff sound, right? Sit or stand in different ways, right? But we get this word. So asana is where you're sitting. That's part of the Rakshadakshin parts of the Bhūmi Puja, the Bhūmi-śuddhi. And it's also the place you're sitting, like on the shrine or in your temple, like that. And it's your little cloth that you sit, your little carpet that you sit on, right? Your asana, that's like that. And it's you sitting. It's your seat as you sit there, right? This is your Āsana-sthāpana. Means, a yoga teacher can correct your asana and get the asana, can establish and purify your asana. Correct your posture, get it right, get the right curvature, the whole thing. That's also asana, purification of the seat or establishing the seat. I mean, sit. Āsana-sthāpana could be sit properly. That could be Āsana-sthāpana. Not just raksha, patsara, and flowers, and that's part of it. But it could also, in regular yoga, you sit, with it back straight, right? Back straight 108. That's what you say, That's almost sufficient. Sit properly, and in the Gita it says, Lord Krishna says, first he gives some instruction about the type of asana, right? And a place neither too high nor too low, that is clean and private and pleasant, right? And then spreading a kusha grass and a deer skin and a cloth, one on top of another. So that's describing the place as asana, describing your seat, the cloth or the little seat that you sit on as asana. And then asana, how to sit, right? Sitting with the neck, head, and back, head, and shoulder, and neck in a straight line, right? Then internal. Then it goes into concentrating the tip of the nose. It goes that same instruction. He describes asana in all those examples, right? So asana means all those things. So in puja, what's our asana? Our asana is primarily it's a purification of our little carpet that we sit on. And you should never do puja. It's actually forbidden to do puja. It's a mistake in puja not to sit on an asana, right? People just sit on the floor and put a cloth and sit on that cloth, on a mat, a carpet, or even a Holy Mother one time, like when she'd initiate somebody, she first said, "Oh, put 2 mats down," and she said they both sit on the mat, because to do such an auspicious religious act, not sit in the proper asana, is considered incorrect. One time, so the story goes, she was in a train station in Vishnupur, right, not far from Jambati, and she met somebody. I don't know if she knew that she was Ramakrishna's consort or just met her, or this person met Holy Mother. And right at the train station, I'll initiate you. Right? Maybe they never met again. I don't know who the story goes. They said, fine. And they went and picked some leaves and put the leaves down. They sat on the leaves so you can initiate properly. There had to be some sort of an asana for puja. So in puja, we always have and there's many reasons for that. One is that it just delineates a pure space. That's not just any place, right? It also acts as a buffer. Right, it's like if you have a dirty place, you put down a seat, you can sit down on a dirty place and still be clean, right? You'll see in I remember somebody gave us some at Vaheguru Anachetra and at Kumbh, the first time I met the guru of the Vaheguru group, they give lots of gifts to sadhus. What's the gift? They give gifts that sadhus need, right? And so one of the things they give it was like a grass. It had plastic on one side, like a blue tarp material, and then like a grass mat on the other. That was very nice. This way you can sit on the grass and have it clean like that. One of us. And so it's like, oh, I guess that's cool. I mean, I had my little yogi thing that I bought at Kampukor, those asanas that we use, right, for years, right. But then I was stuck at the airport, not the airport, at the train station, and we're sitting for hours. The train's not just a little late; it's a day late. But they don't tell you it's a day late, so you can go back to where you were. They tell you it's coming in an hour. They do that for a day. One of those. So you can't just go back. That's the way it is, and at least it was probably still this way in many trains. And so it's like there's no place to sit, and there is a place to sit, but it's not a clean place to sit, so you can't sit there. And so if you sit on the floor is not a clean place at this particular train station. So I have an asana. They gave me something like that. And I put it down, and so I put it with the plastic part down, which touched the dirty part, and I sat on the grass. When I sat there, put my bag, and I sat there, and I sit there watching people walk by and read and get a cup of tea. It's like, but even in a dirty place, I was clean. I was sitting in a clean place, in a dirty place, right? That's also part of the science of having and then we're also told to have your own asana, right? Ideally, people don't use other people's asanas, right? So why is that? Partially because it's believed that it takes on the vibration of your sadhana, right? It's imprinted with your sadhana. It's tuned to you, right? And where you do sadhana, the place becomes. I remember Ayappa Swami Ayappa Giri. He told us many years ago. He says, when you do sadhana, 1/3, whether it's mathematical like this, but I remember the point. 1/3 of your sadhana stays in the place where you did it, right? 1/3 of your sadhana goes to those with whom you are related, connected, and 1/3 goes for your own advancement, right? So the people connected are to your family, to your guru, to your disciples, to your things like that is connected. That's why it says if you attain enlightenment or liberation, you'll liberate generations, because people whom you're connected are front and back 10 generations. What's 10 is interesting. We were talking about this privately recently. Often you hear 10 generations, or you hear 21 generations. What's 21 generations? 10 generations back, 10 generations forward, and you. 21. That's why this number 21 generations. Like Parshuram killed 21 generations of Kshatriyas, right? In the story, that's where that comes from. It's past, present, and yourself, right? You're connected at maybe more than that. Depends on some people could purify. I mean, in some religions, one person's liberation purifies everybody, right? I mean, it's fundamental. I mean, because he's connected, he's cosmic man. Jesus is cosmic man. He liberates everybody by his liberation. Maybe, you can see that this principle of somebody's liberation, somebody's experience affects those to whom are connected, maybe through faith and belief, or maybe through initiation. We believe that what we do when our connection to a guru or a disciple, that one person's good or bad behavior also affects, right? So, but also, it goes to yourself. It goes to whom you're connected and intimately related, and it also goes to the place where you are. So the place becomes holy. That's why your meditation room feels different, and a temple feels way different, because this is so many people have done sadhana here. Many people's prayers and japa and kirtan for years and years and years, right? Not only malls here and like that, but even just the Swami Bhajanananda said it's the devotees that make holy men, holy women make a holy place holy, right? He said this many times, right? It's the bhaktas that make a place holy, right? Their sadhana, their devotion, right? Their practice. But how can you take your sadhana with you, right? Your asana is your sadhana. That is your seat, right? Your temple room is one thing, but where you sit, even in the temple room, you have to sit on a little seat to do your japa meditation, right? And when you go somewhere else, you can put your asana down, right? And wherever you are, you're in that same space. You're always in your spiritually vibed thing. And then there's the quality of Swami Shivananda talks. There's a quality of association, right? So every time you sit in the same place or in the same type of seat, you meditate. So pretty soon, just sitting there, it makes you want to meditate, right? If every time you hear, like Pavlov's bell, every bell they hear, pretty soon the bell itself makes you hungry, right? Dinner bells work that way. We're so connected. So it's just seeing the cloth, sitting in the cloth, or having a special chadar or a special cloth we use for puja, right? Immediately wearing that cloth puts you in that state. It connects you, a holy thing. We have vestments, special cloth we use in puja. Wearing that, we immediately in the vibration of puja. The cloth has only been used for puja, right? It's permeated mentally it's connected, and maybe actually it's permeated with the vibrations of it have changed, perhaps, So that's another thing about the asana. So of course your asana should be clean, right? So what does it mean to purify the asana? It's another level of purification, right? And it's done the way it's usually. I think in the small book, what does it say? Or I never mind. In the small book, touching your asana with your right hand, chant Om Hrim Adhara Shaktaye Kamalasanaaya Namaha, and then there's a prayer. Om Privitaya Dritta Loka Devi Tvam Vishnadrita Tvam Cha Dhremam Nityam Pavitram Kuru Shasanam. So this has been simplified. The more elaborate, this is you take touching your seat and go Mrim Arhara Shakti Kamalasanaaya Namaha. Shaktari Vyo Kamalasanaaya Namaha, something. We worship the power that sustains, the sustaining Arhara Shakti, the power that holds. And of course, the earth is holding us up. What holds everything up? There's a Shakti that holds everything up. We talked about this last time, that the earth element, right, underneath or in our body, the Muladhara, it's the earth element, right? Underneath the Muladhara, there's a Shakti. We call it Kundalini, right? So the power that sustains everything, that's worshipped in the seat, in the earth element, below the seat, is the Kundalini. So this is actually worship of Kundalini, right? And in the more elaborate puja, actually we pull back the seat. This is the same thing as digging a triangle into the earth and sliding. We dig back the seat, and then with a water on our finger, we draw a triangle, circle, and a square. Like we talked about this last time. That is the pit of Kundalini. And we offer a flower to that, down deep. I mean, the problem is we don't know how to do that, but we can do it ritually. We pull back our seat and then deep into the base of the earth, underneath everything, the very core of our being, the base of our being, base of everything. Om Hrim Arhara Shaktyadi Bhyo Namaha. Om Hrim Arhara. It's different than the small book. That's why I combine two mantras for Om Hrim Arhara Shakti Kamalasana Namaha. We worship the power of the sustain. Kamalasana, in the lotus seat. Kamala Asana. So this is interesting. So that's also a giveaway. The seat that we're worshiping, the power sustain, is the lotus seat, right? That means a chakra, right? Padma. We have, because we use the word can't say in English. In English we say chakra. In American English, we use but actually they're described as chakra, but actually in the literature described as padmas, as lotuses or kamalas, these blooming lotuses like that. Chakra means a wheel of spinning energy, but then when they're visualized as geometric forms within blooming lotuses of different petals, right? So the four petals of the Muladhara Chakra and the square shape, that's a foundation. Our asanas are square, right? If you build a building, the foundation is usually square. It's the ground. The ground is a table is safe on four legs or a strong base. So it's four. So the power is, we were in the lotus seat. It means in Muladhara, which this is our lotus seat. We've pulled it back and we're going underneath that, even if it's just withdrawing water and offering a flower. Where it's going deep into, we're worshipping Kundalini herself. Om Hrim Hara Shakti Bhyo Namaha. This mantra Hrim, which is also not chanted out loud generally, right? This is considered, this is known as the Hrileka mantra. Hrileka, right? Hre means heart. Leka means line, to draw like a line. There's the term like that. So it means, the way it can be, it's actually one of the deep meanings. It means there's a scratch in the heart. Very interesting image. There's a scratch in the heart itself, right? Why? What is that? We could always feel like there's some, if we think about it deep enough, and maybe we shouldn't, right? We're all a little brokenhearted, right? We're separated from the thing we really want and the one we really love. We don't know what that is yet. Maybe we do. Maybe we've consciously. Maybe we're on a spiritual path because of that. Or maybe we're on a spiritual path to discover what is that scratch, that itch, that's something unsatisfied within the heart, right? So that's one of the meanings of this mantra. It's also in Tantra, it's considered the union of Shiva and Shakti is contained in this mantra. So when Shiva and Shakti unite, this is the sound that embodies that union or leads to that union. So in the chakras, each element has its own mantra, bij mantra, right? Lam for the earth, Vam for water, Ram for fire, Yam for air, Hum for space or Akasha, right? And Hrim is for the when Kundalini joins with Shiva at the 1,000 petal. This is the sound. This is the mantra of that union. It's actually top. This mantra in the body, the top, above the head, at the top of the head. This is the place of union, right? It's also in the Devi Bhagavatam. It says, Devi herself says that for Devi worship, it's equivalent to Om. Like every deity, we use Om for every deity, right? So just like Om is a universal mantra, it's not specific to particular. It's like Om. The Om means Vishnu, not Shiva. Not Om is the universe. It means Brahman. It means consciousness. It means the absolute. It's the name of Vishnu. It's the name of Shiva. So we say Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Sri Durgaya Namaha. Right? Om is the essence of is. But that same Bij mantra for Devi is Hrim. Right? That's a universal mantra for Hrim. In our hymns, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda wrote a hymn to Sri Ramakrishna, which we often do in evening after Arati. And the first line, Om Hrim Ritam, Tvam Achalo, right? You are, what are you? He says, Oh Ramakrishna. So this is like when we say, why? I mean, we're all good, fanatical disciples of somebody, we want to do worship and like that. But Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, he's making a universal hymn that's chanted, like he's not just being a fanatical disciple of his guru. Right, creating. We're doing this. We all do Guru Puja. And what's the mantra what hymn should we do for our guru? There are such mantras and people can do for their gurus, but that's not what this hymn is, right? So what warrants him being in the center of the shrine, not even just being. We always put pictures of our gurus on our shrine, but he is the shrine in many temples, right? Why? He is the object of the arati. Why? Right? He is Tvam Achalo. You are. The one indicated by Om, by Hrim, and by the word Ritam. Om, Hrim, Ritam. Very, very deep thing. It's not my topic, but it's a good topic. Om is the word for the universal Brahman. Hrim is the essence of the Devi herself. And Ritam is, we get the word, we get the idea of Dharma or of Satya. Truth or righteousness or whatever you think both of these words are hard to translate. They come from an earlier Vedic principle of Ritam. We get the word rhythm from it, right? That's the closest we can get like Dharma means that which supports, and it has all kinds of translations of righteousness and duty and goodness and religion and all. There's all kinds of use of the word Dharma. And Satya means truth, existence, good, pure, by usage, all this other stuff. So, but all those, these are our theological. There's Dharma is like a social interpretation of Ritam, and Satya is the Satya is a theological or philosophical tradition of Ritam. Ritam is deeper than those. These are just in society we organize it by what's considered good and dharmic and religious, right? And philosophically, what is truth? I mean, its existence. It's a thing itself. We can use these type of stuff. Ritam is more than that. Ritam is the expression of the reality's own expression, the way things are the way things actually are, and the way they should be, right? Why is there anything instead of nothing? If there's anything instead of nothing, that's Ritam. The way it is Ritam. Right, that's also the truth, and being tuned with that is dharma, right? Or to live your life based upon is dharma, right? It's a very deep thing, right? So Ritam, but it's something different. So sometimes, like somebody will say, don't there's so many examples I don't want to, because they get into very complicated social issues which I'm not equipped or have time to discuss. But there's many things in Hindu culture like, well, you're supposed to do this but not that. Why? It's not a matter of good or bad, not about social like that, because it's Ritam, right? It's like there's a reason that life is doing something, right? And therefore God's doing something, or the Devi is doing something, and the real dharma and real philosophy, right? Dharma is based up, ultimately has Ritam as its goal. The problem when we lose Ritam, then we end up with religions that go against we can say against nature in a certain sense. Rhythm is also the flow of nature. And you get philosophical systems that lose way track of the reality. So they're so careful about the reality, it gets so abstract that they're not real at all. They're purely conceptual. Rhythm is the actual reality, right? The way that the actual flow of the world, the actual flow of our bodies and life and consciousness and evolution and all this is rhythm. I'm getting, the talk is not on rhythm, but anyway, and the talk has to be done in a few minutes. The talk's on Hrim, that's right. Om Hrim Rhythm. That's what that. So when we say to the chakra, you are the one that's indicated by these three ancient words. Well, actually, it's actually the one. It's also Swami Bhajanananda has, I think, talked about this in the Ramakrishna mission. I think, where these three things is you have the rhythm is a term of the Vedas, very old Vedic idea, old Vedas, right? Om that's a name for the absolute, right? Om is in the Upanishads, right, which are later texts. They're mystical texts, right, but they're later texts. The Upanishads and the Puranas, right? And Hrim is the highest, is the supreme from the Tantras. So also by Om Hrim Ritam, he's covered the entire gamut of the sacred literature of all India. The top ideas of the sacred books and ideas in schools, that you are. Therefore, Om Hrim Ritam Chamachalo, and then start Ramakrishna Dinabandhu. Where are we? Then there's this mantra so that's one, when we reach back, we draw that and offer a flower. So in the larger puja, it's actually Om Hrim Arhara Shaktyadi Bhyo Nama. Shaktyadi Bhyo, many more than one. So all the Shakti that's to sustain. So it's not just like when we think of Kundalini, in our body we have one, there's only one energy. That's Kula Kundalini, right? But a Kundalini, none of us know what that is. We know its influence by its various manifestations, right? Like for instance, in our body and in our consciousness, it's being manifested by prana, right? And it's hard to give exact definitions, but we can give a working definition of prana as the radiating energy of Kundalini. That's one way you can think of it, right? It's not Kundalini, but it's not Kundalini. It comes from Kundalini, right? It's not Kundalini itself. So a lot of people have these big, powerful experiences, and they don't anymore because nobody likes my answers to most personal spiritual questions. But I don't blame. I don't like giving them either. So I don't take it personally. I had done it purposely this way, right? But most people are like, oh, I've had this tremendous experience, and Kundalini is coming up. It's giving me some stuff, and it's like, well, these are the symptoms of improper practice. That's what, people's spiritual experiences usually are the symptom of improper, because it's not Kundalini. You're having pranic experiences, and prana is moving the wrong way, and therefore it's damaging you and upsetting your consciousness and mind and emotions and like that, right? Kundalini doesn't have those aren't the symptoms of Kundalini awakening, right? Swami Chaitananda, I remember there was a devotee who lived with him, a young monk, many years ago. I don't even think I ever knew his name, actually. I forgot, but many years ago he was living. And one day in the middle of morning meditation, he starts shaking and then lays down and starts shouting. And Swamiji opens up and says, what's the matter? My Kundalini is awakened. Divine Mother has revealed everything to me. One of these type of stuff. He says, then go to your room, lay down. Swami Chaitanya was like, he's usually thinking it's like, eat something, lay down, And it's like, oh, great, here we go, right? Right. And by breakfast time, he was like, oh, he's revealing, and I've shown evidence of this, and now we know the truth of religion, and this stuff. It's just like, and then Swami said, no, how do you know you're disturbed? No, you don't understand anything, right? Ma has Kundalini, and so one of the symptoms he said, and then Swami Chaitanya, I remember what he said. I know the scriptures, I know the symptoms of Kundalini. One of which is not calling your guru a liar and a fool. That's not a symptom of Kundalini awakening. Right, but then he had to fool him. Oh, we need to take you. No, we take you to the hospital. You can prove really. So they got him admitted and calmed down. Then he had to move out because he couldn't be a monk anymore because he's now unpredictable and he had to get a job. Swamiji got him a job because he worked. It's like when he says, let's see, now he's a young boy working on hawk roofs. Before he was meditating all day, but he couldn't handle it, couldn't digest it, and the problem is that even a spiritual experience or some sort of pranic experience. Because again, an ego, a demon grabs it. We talked back to our beginning of our talk, right? Look what I've realized. It feeds the wrong thing. That's what we have to we have to clean everything internally and externally that this doesn't happen, right? So there's many. So prana and there's not just one prana. Prana is also there's a cosmic prana only an enlightened yogi can see and feel, right? So Kundalini we don't know anything about, and prana we don't know anything about. We know also prana by its manifestations. That we know the manifestation of prana, which is life. We know the thing of life because there's we know the evidence of Kundalini because prana is life. Consciousness and life are expressions of prana, but we don't know what does life mean, right? I mean, you can dissect. You can see when something's alive or dead. What's the difference, right? Well, so then we know. Then we have the pancha prana, the 5 pranas, right? So prana is known by its five manifestations: prana, apana, samana, udana, dhyana. Like that, we can go. We obviously didn't get to pranayama, but I have notes on that too. Ready for that? I foolishly thought I would get to it. Keep saying foolish. People are going to think I'm a fool. I've done a lot of my big foolish thing. So therefore, you see a very common thing. You see a snake. Like outside, we have around our Shiva lingam outside. We have this beautiful 5-headed serpent. Right. The serpent is Kundalini. Right. At the base of the spine, there's a Shiva lingam. Right. Around that, there's a snake wrapped 3.5 times with his head above, like this, with his tail in its mouth. Right. But when we see it, we don't know what that is, right? Everybody is like, so what do we do? But we know its manifestation as the 5 pranas in our body, in breath, out breath, diffusing breath. There's different things and there's not only 5 pranas, there's 10 pranas, and not only 10 pranas, there's thousands of pranas, right? We'll go with them. I have my list of not all thousands of them, but I know the numbers at least, and the names of a lot of the important ones, and their functions, right? So even when we worship the snake, we usually worship it with 5 heads. Right, because these are the 5 ways that we know in our own body and in everything. Everything is growing, it's decomposing, it's rising, it's falling, it's growing up, it's growing old, it's decomposing, it's all this doing all these different. It's spreading, it's collapsing. There's all these shaktis. This is the world we see. So these are the 5 heads. But the real snake is not known as Ananta Shesha. He had thousands of heads, and Ananta is symbolic. I mean, to say 1,000 means infinite, right? Ananta actually is not 1,000. Ananta means without end. We say, but usually we translate Ananta Shesha as 1,000, because there's also names like that also, right? But so even the 1,000-petal lotus, not 1,000, right? That's a nice symbolic number. It means it's the infinite. You can't say the infinite has 1,000 of anything. You can't apply a number to describe the qualities of it. An infinite has 1,000 qualities, or 1,000. Obviously, the 1,000 means infinite. It's just a really big number, I forgot to mention all this. Anyways, it's the Shaktyadi Bhyod. So in a larger puja, let's say Durga Puja, one of these big pujas we do, then more mantras are done here. Well, along with this, now some of those Shaktis are named. One of which is Prithvi, the earth goddess, right? Mother Earth itself, the planet Earth, and the Devi that personifies it, right? Then there's Kurma. Kurma is the tortoise that holds up the earth, right? Not justifying the flat earth theory with tortoises all the way down, right? This is the thing that holds up. Also, it's a very deep thing, and in the story of the churning of the ocean, where the corn avatar came, we'll go into that when it gets an appropriate part of the discussion. Then there's I'm forgetting. I don't have the book in front of me. The pranas, the Ananta Shesha. There's some, I'm forgetting, but there's a whole bunch. All these, there's many shaktis that are considered to hold up the thing. And then there's mantra Om, and then there's a Vini Yoga mantra. This is the first time we want to finish. We have to finish at least the earth. We have to, the Vini Yoga mantra. So there's a mantra in the small book. There's a prayer to the earth. Prithvi Traya Drita Loke Devi Tvam. In the more elaborate puja, there's a Vini Yoga mantra that's chanted first. And a Vini Yoga mantra, Vini Yoga means something's use or its application, what it's for, the purpose of it, right? And so certain practices and certain mantras come with a instruction manual, comes with a label, right? You get something and you want to look at the box of macaroni, you look at the thing, it's like, you look at the label, give some details. Right, there's some legal things they have to put there, calories, ingredients, maybe in some countries whether it's GMO or not. You get to know all these details, right? where it's, what country it's made in, what companies producing it. You have to, some of these things, some people may, it says non-GMO, it says organic, but it's done by a weird company I don't trust. I want, the way we know something by its label in a certain sense. Right? Labeling is probably important. So Vini Yoga in a certain sense could be considered a label or instruction manual of a thing. Om Asya Asano Pavishana Mantrasya. For the mantra for establishing the seat. It starts, right? So what's this? This is the top of the label. This mantra, for the mantra, and that's the next mantra, the Privitra, the one that's in the small puja book. For that mantra, for purifying the seat, Meru Prishta Rishihi. There's different things that are listed. One is the Rishi. Rishi means sage. The Rishi of a mantra, of a practice, is the Rishi, the sage who first heard the mantra. The Rishi who revealed the practice, from whom it comes down. The person who heard the mantra and therefore spoke the mantra. Or like this. And then there's a Chandaha. Chandana means the meter. Meter is how many syllables per line. Like Gayatri means 24 syllables, right? So that's one of the meters, right? There's different meters. I think there's like 37 important meters and many more, probably, Vedic meters. In most pujas, there's like 6 or 7. You won't get past more than 6 or 7 meters in most Vedic mantras and puja mantras. There's a devata, the deity of a mantra, right? So like for a mantra, like for a Kali mantra, most likely the devata is Kali, right? That's the sign, the natural for the deity, right? And there's a Shakti. There's a bija, a seed. There's a kilakam. There's a pin. There's all these different things. This mantra doesn't have it. So, and when we get in a few pages, there'll be mantras that have those other details. Then we'll talk about those other details. Here it simply says Meru Prishta Rishihi, Suttalam Chandaha, and Kurmo Devata. Right. So it just mentions the Rishi, the meter, and the deity. The Meru Prishta Rishihi. This is the Rishi. Now the Rishi is not like Markandeya Rishi or Gautama Rishi or something, or Narada Rishi. Sometimes it's those. This one it's a little more abstract. Mount Meru is the Rishi, right? The Mount Kailash itself, the central mountain, worshipped as Kailash, or the central mountain of the universe. In our body, it's our spine is Mount Meru. We have called the Merudanda is the spinal cord, right? And so there's the Merudanda itself is the Rishi. That means the Rishi who gave this mantra is the spine itself. Interesting, right? We can go imagine what that means, right? Suttalang, forgive me, I don't remember what Suttalang means. It's like 32 syllables or 30, I forget exactly. And Kurma Devata, Kurma is that the tortoise that holds up the earth, right? Kurma is the Devata. Asana Pavishra Vini Yoga, and its purpose, its Vini Yoga, is to purify the seat, the asana, by all those 5 different definitions of asana I gave, right? Then the mantra itself. Om Privitraya Ditaloka Devi Tvam. O Prithvi, O Mother Earth. It's a beautiful name. The Vedas, they have these two. There's Bhudevi and Prithvi Devi. These are the common names of the earth goddess. Prithvi comes because there was an ancient king mentioned in the Bhagavatam called Prithu Maharaj. And Prithu Maharaj, there was a time, the earth, the rhythm of the world is that the earth produces bounty, right? And the creatures of the earth take that bounty properly, according to a rhythm, and also give back to it. You know, the nature gives the plant, an animal eats the plant. That plant, then that animal goes to the bathroom, nourishes the plant. That's the way it spreads its seeds. You know, that's the way. That's called the rhythm, right? But that can be broke. We can live adharmically. We're the only ones that live out of harmony. Can live out of harmony with nature, right? That most things don't live out of harmony. By the definition of something as nature is that it's doing what it's supposed. It's doing its own thing. A dog is being a dog. A plant's being a plant. People can be not people. That's the problem. People have an unusual freedom to do horrible or wonderful things. We can break nature, both good or bad, go beyond nature or pervert nature and pollute nature. So in the ancient stories, Earth, human beings, and everything was so bad. This is considered the beginning of culture. This is a transition, sociologically or anthropologically, of the hunting-gathering societies to the farming and agricultural societies, right? But things were it wasn't going well, and the earth stopped, closed up, shops closed, nothing for me. All the seeds people planted, she held. All the springs people were looking for water, she closed. She's like, no, you guys are going to do what you're doing. You're taking too much. You're doing it wrong, and who knows? And you're using it for adharma rather than dharma, right? Closed everything. A very powerful image, right? And so Prithu Maharaj fought the earth, and what happened? He chased the earth. He goes, well, I have to save my people. He's the first city-state king, right? I have to save. I have my responsibility. And and she took on the form of a cow. That's her first time she took on the form of the cow and ran. And he chased her. Right. And finally, they caught up with her, and it says, "No, you have to let me catch you." It says, "No, but you're not." And so they have a discussion about these very points, and then she made an agreement. No, okay. My ritam I cannot hold back these things, but you have to be a little more responsible. Even though now you have a new society, it can't be done without any rules, right? So she gave some. That's the first beginning of the story is the domestication of the earth, right, of nature. Right. Hopefully, respectfully, not always respectfully, obviously. So that's where the Prithu comes. So, goddess, Prithvi goddess, Drita Loka Devi Tvam, you hold us all. Oh mother, you're holding. It's a beautiful idea that Mother Earth is holding us. Just to be conscious that we're on her body, right. You are held, Devi Tvam, Vishnura Drita, and you are held by Vishnu, right. You hold us, and you are held by Vishnu. Right. There's a story when Hiranyaksha stole the earth and plunged into the bottom of the causal ocean, into the underworld. Right. Then Vishnu had to take a form of a boar, Varaha avatar, and he went and killed Hiranyaksha and took up Devi Earth on his tusk and put her back in her proper place. So that's the story goes, right. But there's a story that's a story where he's held by Vishnu. Devi is held. That's a mythological story of how the Devi is held by Vishnu. We have that even in our thing where and during that, goddess Vishnu says, she says to Vishnu, you are carrying me like you did before. That means in every age this Leela happens. Again, some demon steals. Again, he takes his form and carries. But because of that, he became the husband of the earth, right? Because it says I think times have changed, right? But in traditional cultures, only a husband would carry. The only man who would carry a woman is the husband. And even we have a little bit of symbol of that, where even in modern weddings, maybe not modern, but where at the end of the wedding, when you come home, the husband will carry the woman over the threshold, right? That's like Lakshmi entering the houses. I mean, it's a complicated thing, but that's the idea of carrying is that. So you are married to Vishnu. Vishnu is your protector. Vishnu is and you are supported by him. So by us honoring you who hold us, we're also honoring Vishnu who holds you. Vishnu also comes from the word Vishu, which means consciousness, all pervading, right? So this is another reference in a Vishnu story of Kundalini. Vishnu means all pervading consciousness. There's an all pervading infinite consciousness in which imagine something floating in an ocean. Right, that's also being held. Something floating in the ocean is being held by the ocean, right? So even the thing that's holding, we worship you. You're infinite. For us, you're our foundation. But the thing that holds you is infinite, right? You're in internal, in absolute consciousness. That consciousness we worship in this practice is Kundalini at the base of the spine. That's that little flower. That little flower has a lot of meaning. That's what we're worshiping, right? Tvamcha dharmam nityam pavitram kurushasanam. You please, Mother Earth, you hold us, you support us, right? And make our seat pure. Seat, once again, make your asana pure. What's the asana? Cha asana. The place, the planet, material nature, our body, our Muladhara Chakra, our little seat, the place we're doing, all those different things, our posture, all these things that asana mean. Oh, Mother Earth, and think about it, what makes it pure? We've taken our bath, we've washed everything, we sprinkled everything's clean as clean as it's going to get, right? But just think that one thought, oh, Mother Earth, you hold us all, you are held by infinite awareness, consciousness that exists. You hold us, just putting your mind on that itself it purifies everything. It purifies the seat, and also purify the seat means liberate us from the seat. Right, because we're bound to matter. We want to be liberated from matter, right? if we have the proper attitude towards matter, we're free from matter. Because right now we're this is real, this is us, this is me, this is mine, right? So what type of spiritual progress can that repetition, that consciousness do? But this beginning to change that, like that itself is the awakening of Kundalini, the spreading of consciousness, all the things that the churning of the ocean that happens on top of this korma, all this happens from there. So Om Prithvi Tvaya Drita Loka Devi Tvam Vishana Drita Tvam Cha Dramamnitam Pavitram Kurushashanam. And then on top of the whole thing, on top of your asana now, because now you've gone deep, now you're going above it. Now to this, you also draw again that with a drop of water, this triangle, circle, and square, and again offer a flower. Om Hrim Radha Shakti Kamalasana. We worship that power in the lotus seat. Now you've established the lotus seat. We know what that means, right? So we worship power. And then in more elaborate pujas, there's more things that can be done. Then there's Yogasana. This is the seat of yoga. The Siddhasana, the seat of perfection. There's Shuddhasana, this pure seat. In Kali Puja, there's another one. Om, what is it? The Mahapreta, Mahapreta, Shava Shiva Mahapreta Asanaya Namaha, something like that. No, that's right. We worship Sada Shiva, right? On this seat of a dead body. Right? This is actually what you see here. Ma stands on Shiva, on Sada Shiva. But this is not the full picture. Really, Ma stands on Sada Shiva, and Sada Shiva lays on another Shiva called Shava Shiva, right? Shiva as a corpse, right? Now we've gone in a talk on the 1,000 names of Kali. We've talked a lot about she who sits on a corpse. We give an hour and a half talk on just that. You can listen to that. That's an important topic. I can't go into it, but a simple thing is what's the asana that if Sada Shiva, which is in tantric imagery, Sada Shiva lives here, right? Devi stays at the base of the spine under Muladhara. That's who we're worshiping. Sada Shiva, the infinite Lord, lives on top of this Meru mountain, right? And the goal is that she will come and unite with him, right? If that happens, if she who's underneath us joins with he who's above us, then what are they sitting on? Us. They're sitting on this body. When prana moves up such a way that we're lost in that infinite consciousness, right? Then this body itself becomes a dead body without awareness, which is what it is. So exactly it's not given. It's not in the little book, but it's in the Sada Shiva Mahapreta Padmasanaya Namaha. We worship Sada Shiva on the dead body on the lotus seat. Right, very deep things. With that, we'll end. I didn't get to anywhere near what I wanted, but I think we did interesting topics. Thank you for your kind attention. Sorry there's no time for questions because we're 3 minutes late for Arati. Jai Ma Kali. Put it on, when you save it, it says save HD. There's some time of thing.